Ag Over Easy is the new podcast from Channel where you get breakfast with a side of agronomic insights. Enjoy some food for thought while you get fresh takes on different topics from a wide range of farm industry experts. Coming soon to channelpodcasting.com and Apple Podcasts, Google, Stitcher, Spotify, and anywhere else you listen. Hi there, welcome back to Channel Chat Season 2. I'm your host, Amity Shed, and we're in Wahoo, Nebraska for this episode, visiting with Channel Seedsman Colby Woods and his Sentera sales and training specialist, Jessica Grubbs. Colby's been a seedsman for almost 2 years now, and for the last few months, he's been working with Jessica to learn how to fly a drone and use the Sentera software to scout his farmers' fields. We actually got to see the drone in action when we were out there to record the podcast, and it's actually pretty cool. It's pretty amazing what these little machines can do. Jessica's an expert on the Sentera software and is super educated on drones now and what the future could hold for the smart flying machines. So let's go ahead and get this conversation started. Today we're in Wahoo, Nebraska with Channel Seedsman Colby Woods and Sales and Training Specialist for Sentera, Jessica Grubbs. Welcome, you guys. Thanks for taking time today to come talk to us.
You bet.
Thank you.
So let's start off with some introductions. Jessica, since you're the lady, if you would like to start off.
I work for Sentera. I get the joy of selling and educating people on the technology that drones have, and then also training them how to do it.
And Sentera, can you explain or talk a little bit about that company?
I can. So Sentera is world known for their sensors, so their NDVI, NDRE sensors, so crop health sensors. And with those sensors, we've built out analytics products so that you can do more than just crop health. You can do stand counts, which is, kind of what Colby was really focused on, and weed density maps. And we continue to build out software to help farmers.
Mm-hmm. And you help Colby.
Mm-hmm. One day I got an email from Sentera that they were offering a certain package and got in contact with Jessica, and now we're learning and going every day, something new with the drones. So, yeah, it's been fun and exciting.
And how long ago was that?
That would have been, I think right around April, because I said May, I think, is when I did my first drone flight.
April of this year.
Yeah, yep.
Okay. So you two have worked together since that point.
Mm-hmm.
How's it going, Jessica?
I think it's going pretty good.
Yeah.
Good. So that is your job, am I correct, of traveling around and training? Who do you work with? Who's your clientele?
So seedsmen, CCAs in general, any agronomist that's out there.
And how often are you down here working with Colby?
Person to person, I think we've been together twice.
Yeah.
And most of the time it's a steady stream of text and calls.
Yeah. Yes. Sounds similar to your farmers calling you. It's like she's your seedsman only.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
Constant
Like I said,
phone
sometimes
calls.
it's a lot of questions, and it's, have you called support yet? Like, no, I'll just call you first. Like, why would I call
Right.
support when I call you?
Right. Good. That's a good relationship. So obviously you've learned a lot from her.
Mm-hmm.
What has she taught you? Did she teach you drone 101? Like, have you ever flown a drone before, or
No.
is this completely new to you?
Nice thing with the Field Agent, which is the software that Sentera offers for the scouting, the drone really kind of flies itself. If you set up the field boundaries where you want it, you tell it the job or the flight you want it to, type of flight you want it to fly, and it kind of does it for you. So that part was pretty easy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, she came over, we did the Flight 101, and then went through how to, use the software. Because basically it's all imagery, so it's all on a mini SD card that's in the drone. Yeah, it's been pretty easy to learn. Yeah, I was very intimidated to begin with flying a drone. I don't want to wreck this. I'm like, how durable are they?
Right.
And she's like, well, you don't want to run it directly into a tree, but at the same time.
How did the first flight go?
It was good. It was good. So basically we flew around here at home without, the actual software, but using the software, it was pretty easy. We set it to 400 feet, and it took off and did probably an acre worth.
Yeah, we did a soccer field here in town.
Yeah, a soccer field, yeah. We did a soccer field, and it flew that, and it took all of 4 minutes, but it's neat to kind of see how that works.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's almost like a like a video game kind of say.
Yeah.
So it's pretty.
It's got the controller
Yeah.
and all
Yep.
that stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
So and then it has a screen, so you can kind of you can see where you're flying. So if you're kind of at least have some hand-eye coordination, it's pretty easy to figure
Yeah.
out. So
Yeah. And why did you make the choice to go ahead through with learning all this stuff? What benefit does it bring your customers and your farmers?
we kind of want to be on the front end of this because I think drones are going to start showing up more and more in agriculture, and especially in our scouting, because it's that idea of getting 100% coverage of the acres. When we walk by foot, yeah, a guy could walk a majority of a field and get a good idea what's going on, but with the drones, we can cover 100% of the acres and within an 80-acre field takes 20 minutes to fly. So you're saving time there. You're getting a snapshot, like actual live data out into the grower's hands of what's going on in that field. Like I said, it doesn't take much time at all. So it's being more efficient. It's giving farmers the information and data that they need to make on-time decisions throughout the growing season. So that was a big part of it. And I said, and I kind of want to be the first one out there. I want to be out there before a lot of the other guys are. So that was kind of another factor. And honestly, Nebraska summers get hot, and walking cornfields when it's above your head isn't all that fun. So
Right.
that's another perk.
I get it. This particular area, what's different, interesting, or maybe even harder about farming in Eastern Nebraska specifically, and what's the benefit of having a drone to help you through that too?
In Eastern Nebraska, we got kind of a little bit of everything. There's dryland farmers, then we do have irrigation around. But yeah, I mean, we see everything. We have basically all the pests. We get all the diseases. So just having the drone out there to scout, to make my time more efficient on the farm. Get the data back. We can kind of keep on top of things.
Jessica, drones weren't always around and they weren't always used for this purpose. So how have you seen that change in your business, and how popular is using this kind of technology now?
Yeah, so kind of similar to Colby, I came from a co-op where we had a drone, and the main purpose of the drone was if something went wrong, the drone went out to see from the sky what was going on. That was literally the only thing you did with it. So to come in now and have a whole mission plan, and it goes out and it does, pretty much does everything it needs to do and comes back to you, like that's way simpler than even what we had before. So I continue to see improvements even in the flight planning and different things like obstacle avoidance and things like that to make it easier to do. But the thing I see is the software, like how much more can you do with it? So the drone goes out and flies and makes it easy, but what do you do with it when it comes back to you? So stand counts was a big part of what Colby does with his business. Weed pressure is becoming more popular. I mean, there's a lot of things you're not thinking about that you could be doing with that drone. So, we have guys doing residue management, so they'll fly it and they'll see how much residue it is and do a prescription tillage off of it. And crop health makes different prescriptions so you can go out for potash or nitrogen or other things along those lines. It's just a whole slew of software solutions that you could be using on your farm, or even just for your customers to have more data points and more actionable things to do.
And what has the general reaction been from your farmers and farmers you've dealt with when they use a drone for the first time, or as they start to incorporate that on their fields?
I would say, they're very curious. Like I said, I've had a couple guys that pull up when I'm flying a field, and they're wondering what I'm doing, just standing on the edge of the field looking up in the sky. And then I show them the remote and the iPad, the screen of what's going on. So they're very intrigued. I think that they're happy that I'm the one doing it and not them, because they don't quite trust themselves to do it. But they also they like the information they're getting back, the data. I mean, that's nowadays farmers they're getting more and more information, and they need more information on decisions they're making. So, like I said, they're intrigued by it. They like it. Like I said, they like the data that's coming from the flights that we do. So I think that's probably where they're accepting it more. Like I said, no one's really been against it or freaked out by it at all. Like I said, they like it. The more and more they see it, they understand what it is, and they appreciate it, because like I said, you are getting over all of their acres in a timely fashion.
Right.
So, like I said, I think it's kind of going to change the way we scout going forward.
Mm-hmm. Do you get the same, I guess, impression from farmers you work with?
Yeah,
Or that's kind
for
of your
sure.
job, I guess, is to make them more comfortable using the drones, right?
That's right. Nobody showed up with a shotgun yet to shoot out of the sky, so all bonuses.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get a lot of the same reaction. What are you doing at the field edge, looking at the sky?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you show them, and they're like, "Wow, that's really cool. I didn't realize you could do that with the drone," or "I didn't realize, how much time does it take you?" Or as a CCA, you think about, all right, I can go out and I can scout a field and I can do 3 to 5 spots, and that's only 3 to 5 spots in 80 acres. If I can do a whole field in the same amount of time, like that's a bigger advantage for that grower versus my random checks.
So, Colby, you kind of touched on it with it's more information and farmers use it to make decisions. How much information and technology is too much? I know that's kind of a different way to think about it, but when you think they have their own intuition about what they want to do and they get advice from their seedsman or whoever, how do you guys help them sort through all that to make the best decision for the farm? Because it's a lot.
Yeah. I don't think we're quite there with, I know what you mean by too much information, but like I said, yeah, I could tell a guy all these things about like a certain corn hybrid, what it does, but really they want to know placement, what on my acre, where is it going to go? Where does it fit best? And so when we get that, and then we use these tools, like with the drones and the scouting, it's just kind of to support where we place these hybrids, like how, did we place it in the right spot? Is it doing good? Is it the plant health the way we want it? We can look at other factors throughout the year, like we know, Mother Nature can be, basically one of our biggest factors depending on how things grow. So, like I said, yeah, I use it a lot to when we're doing field health. We've made decisions and recommendations on when to fertilize. We noticed that the corn crop wasn't doing as well as we want, so we gave it an extra shot of fertilizer through the growing season. And then, we go out and fly the drone maybe a couple days afterwards, and you could see the health of the plant increase. So they see that as a positive because they don't have to wait all the way till yield. Before we would, are we doing the right thing? Well, we can actually see in the imagery that yes, the field health, the plant is increased in health, so therefore, we're getting bang for our buck,
Right.
And like I said, guys will tell you when they've had too much information or what they're looking for.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, you just gotta ask the right questions. There's some guys that want everything. They want all the maps, all the stand counts. Or some guys that want a couple fields that are maybe their best fields. So it just kind of depends on grower to grower.
Right.
What they want. And they said they'll tell you.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I
Yeah.
see.
What do you see, Jessica?
I see no such thing as too much information myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, like when I make a prescription, I'm always like, give me everything you have. Even if you think it was a bad year, I want to see it. I want to see how the soil types reacted to different situations. I want to see anything I can learn to try to help you make a better decision for next year. So I have never felt like there's too much information,
Right.
but that's just me.
Yeah, it's got to be the right information. Like there could be a lot of other stuff, but I mean, like Jessica said, yeah, there's a lot of farmers that, you look at it, certain things, you want to have all the clues, you want to have all, what's going on when we're trying to diagnose a problem. If the more information, the more things you have, we'll be able
Right.
to get better. We might have been right about the 70% getting things right. Well, now we could probably be closer to that 90, 95, percent getting things right. So,
Right. So how do you guys help bridge that gap between farmers who are intimidated by the technology and the drone and don't want to break it and don't really want to touch it? Are you that bridge? Are you bridging that gap?
like I said, the guy, I'm letting him know that it's easier than he thinks. I don't let him,
Yeah.
Don't let it intimidate you. And then you just reassure him, like you use, a lot of these guys have the climate, the iPad in the cab. They're out doing other things, heck, they can run sprayers, they can run, combines and planters that have screens all over the place. I'm like, it's no different than that. They're confident in that. It's just getting them to try it. So when you kind of let them know that, oh yeah, I am doing all these other things. It's like, yeah, like find a drone,
Yeah.
won't be. And I said, if you want, I'll help you, kind of, we can learn together, so to say. Because that's what I've done this year is, since this year's been my first year, kind of learning what the Sentera software can all do, going out, kind of just flying guys, fields, getting an idea what it does. And then next year, I'll probably start offering it more as a full on-farm service for these guys. 'Cause I said this year I'm kind of guinea pigging it and trying to figure out how it all works, getting all the bugs figured out. But like I said, by next year, really getting into it. So yeah, so I tell them I'm learning too. So yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about that, Jessica? Especially since you are a training specialist, helping these guys kind of wrap their minds around this drone technology. You're a bridge as well.
Like he said, look at the tractors now. They all are like iPad function. It's very similar. So I always say the drone is the least sexy part of the whole thing because you literally give it a boundary and it goes and does it and comes back. It's very boring, to be honest. It's not intimidating because it's hard to mess it up.
Yeah. It's so cool how technology has come this far. Why is drone technology and software like Sentera needed and important today?
I think it's needed and important because it's really nice that climate offers, satellite imagery. But when I look at ag today, I look at RTK level accuracy, and you look at sub-inch. You're down to the less than an inch of accuracy of where you're placing the seed, where you're placing those nutrients. So satellite imagery can be 30 meters off. I mean, it can be monstrous amounts off. So when you're looking at getting down to that level of accuracy, you need to be able to fly it and have really accurate GPS and really accurate crop health maps so you know what you're doing. So that's where I think drones have their place, just in increasing that accuracy. And then the other part of it is right now. Like, we need to do things right now. Like he said, putting fertilizer out. That's not something you can wait until the cloud cover's gone or until the climate map kicks back. You need to do it now if you notice a problem.
So the future, what do you think about it?
I see more automation. We already hear about Amazon working on drones delivering our stuff. So we're just moving in that direction. I see more automation that way. And then the other thing I see is not only having the drone automatically do a lot of this for you, I see live streaming coming back to the equipment as it's going. So I could almost see like the drone flying over and sending back a prescription live time to the machine as it's going.
That's cool.
And like I said, with that kind of the future, I could see, you see a lot of guys, especially around here, we put a lot of fungicide on corn and beans. I can see application becoming a thing with drones, because the drone I fly probably couldn't do it, or it would take a lot of time to do a field because it's a little one. But some of these bigger drones, I could see, them, applying, herbicides, fungicides, even like spot, spraying. So kind of doing that, which I'm sure will come because
there's drones out there that do that now. Yeah. You can buy a drone that'll actually spray your field for you.
Wow.
So yeah. So that's something where, gosh, might probably save equipment cost too. And so if you're not,
I think like the spraying drone now is like around $16,000, which is peanuts compared to the price of a ground rig.
Yeah. And I said, I've heard that it almost does and this might be wrong, but it does better penetration because the propeller, it pushes it actually down into kind of like when a helicopter sprays, it pushes the chemical or the fungicide or whatever it is down into the canopy. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Like I said, I'm excited to kind of get more into it. The imagery is just going to get better and better. I think right now it's kind of almost endless and kind of, it seems like a fantasy, but it's coming to life too.
It's cool. Yeah. Do you have a specific customer or farm that is a good example of how the drone technology really helped them improve their crop or their field conditions or anything like that?
Yeah, I have. Like I said, I'm running on 2 guys this year, and I actually got this idea by talking with Jessica and the other people at Sentera. Is we had a late planted corn crop just because of the weather conditions, and it's on a bottom. So we went in and we could kind of tell the field was a little bit behind. So we went in and added some fertilizer in, and then also did an application of fungicide just to kind of keep the plant health up and everything. So what Jessica and Sentera said, hey, let's go fly this field before he decides to put anything on it. Just get that field health imagery, show the guy, and then show him before and after. Then we flew it, 10 days, I think, after the fungicide application, and it came back, and the green spots were greener, the bad spots, they shrunk down. So a guy's seeing, his return on investment on the fungicide, before even going to harvest, because mostly we would have to wait until harvest. Like, okay, maybe it did, or was it other factors? Well, you can see within 10 days that that fungicide really made a difference. So doing things like that, I was able to fly a field of beans for another guy, and just by did field health on it, but then also looking at the actual photos that come back, that it snapshots, you could see that the canopy was really eaten up by, it was a thistle caterpillar that was coming through, and you could really tell. So that was right away. I told them, don't even wait, because there's a certain stage of the beans they want us to apply it, but I told them we probably wouldn't even get to that stage if we didn't spray it. So we went out and they applied the insecticide on, and it helped. I mean, it knocked down all the caterpillars. Now the field looks normal for for all things considered.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, that was kind of a neat thing to see, is the actual, I guess, what do they call it, Jess? Is it just the RGB photo?
The color photo?
Yeah, the color photo. Yeah, so it was
RGB
just a
photo.
color photo. We had the field health, and there was the spots that showed up, but then you could filter and look at the RGB map of it, and it just shows a true color of what the map is, and you can zoom in pretty close, and it shows you how, torn up or eaten up the canopy was. Yeah, it's pretty neat to see how close you can actually get, because you said, think about it, the drone's only flying 20 feet above the
Right.
canopy or so. So yeah, it does a great job. And so that was probably two examples of using the drone where it actually helped with an in-season application.
That's
where guys
great.
are
Yeah, and invaluable time saving. Like you said, not having to wait all the way until harvest to
Yeah.
see if something was successful or not,
Yep.
or helped or not. Yeah.
I did the thistle caterpillars. It's funny
Yeah.
you said that, because I did the exact same
Yeah.
thing the other day. I had seen, we'd had first flush in July, in the beginning of July, and then we just had another flush of thistle caterpillars come through. So it's funny you said that, because I just went out and did a couple
Yeah.
flights for that the other day.
Wow, that's neat. This is so interesting. How tough is it being a farmer today, and how do you guys help?
I think today it's I like to help farmers. I don't know if I would want to be a farmer, just because, like I said, they have a lot of things they have to worry about. Between where the markets are, the Mother Nature kind of decides what their final product's going to be usually, and like I said, they're making a lot of decisions, and it's more, I would say, business oriented now than it ever has been. These guys are, the banks are getting a little tighter. The insurance companies, they want more information. The good old boy system's kind of going
Right.
away, where you need to have all this information. So I think it's our responsibility as agronomists and a partner with the farmers to give them as much information to make these decisions. As we kind of talked earlier, that they can. So that's where, like Jess said, I don't think there's too much information probably isn't a thing, because they, like, the decisions they have to make. At the end, it's all up to them, but we can hopefully get them to make the right one.
Right.
So
And as farming maybe gets more difficult, there's also more, the advances in technology are kind of counteracting that a little bit, maybe, to make it a little easier. What do you think?
I'm going to throw it all the way to precision ag in general is just going to help any farmer today, because return on investment is so important, and knowing where your break-evens are is the most important thing that a farmer can do right now. Just because if they don't know where their break-even is, they don't know how much it's going to cost them to do that. They don't know how much fertilizer or that fungicide is going to cost them. They need to know where they're at, and they need to know inch by inch across their field. Maybe this part's not returning its investment. Maybe I should plant it to CRP and say to heck with it. Those are things that they need to be considering. And maybe it's a lower stand count that they need to do, or maybe it's just something that they need to change the way they've done it always, because they have to adapt to the climate we're in now.
Now I kind of want to talk about just a little bit on your background in ag and why you got involved in drone technology.
When I look at like how I ended up in my role, I look at I became a CCA because I really liked helping farmers, and I liked scouting fields, and I liked the science of it. And I look at precision ag as like the next level of that. I look at what's the next piece that you can really help a grower with. So when I came to Sentera, that was a huge part of it. Was we are offering a really great product that can help farmers better their farm and better their family life, and that's what I wanted out of a job. So I think Sentera is a good fit, just in that it's kind of that next level of adding value for the grower.
yeah, I said I started at the university in business, thinking that's what I want to do, and it got halfway through the freshman year, and I was like, I can't do this. So I got into agronomy.
Yeah.
And it's funny because a lot of people are like, what did you graduate with? I'm like, agronomy degree. They're like, what's agronomy? And I'm like, it's the science behind farming. And so, it's kind of, And like I say, it really intrigued me. And then I got out of school, worked for a co-op, and did a lot of scouting. But then was always interested in the seed. Seed for me, I always like the seed because that's kind of where it starts. It's kind of like we talk about the chicken or the egg. But seed's kind of where it starts. So I kind of always had the passion for the seed part of it. And honestly, coming over to Channel just made sense, just because I feel them as a company, they're probably one of the more progressive companies. And like me being a younger guy, and like Jessica said, with the precision and how things are going, where ag industry is going, I think Channel was right in line with all that going forward. They're very customer focused. Our whole platform, what we do is kind of based around the field checkup series, seedsmanship at work. Kind of always being on the farm with the farmer. And like I said, the whole in partnering with Sentera, kind of the same, all part of it. It's just part of another tool in the toolbox to help farmers. So
I normally like to end on kind of a lighter question of like, why do you love your job?
I would say I do what I do just because I just love the ag industry. Like, I believe what farmers do is very important. They feed the world, so that's a big part of it. And just it seems like we're all kind of, everybody in the ag industry is almost like a big family. Like there's other companies you have, your competitors and stuff, but at the same time, we're all in it for the farmer, or we hope we are. So that's kind of why I do what I do. So
I love working at Sentera just because it is kind of that bridge between technology and ag today. I grew up on a farm, and I remember riding in a 1086 with my dad and hitting my head on the roof of it every time we bounced across anything. And I think back to that, and I'm like, wow, we have come so far from the days of bonking your head on the window to
Right.
to tractors that drive themselves, and drones that are flying overhead and giving you prescriptions on where to be applying stuff. I do what I do because it's exciting. It's exciting to see where we're going. It's exciting to see how we can help people get to those levels of accuracy.
Well, thanks you guys for joining us today. We really appreciate it, and we'll catch you next time on the next episode of Channel Chat. It was really fun, and I learned a lot talking to Colby and Jessica about drones and their place in a farmer's field. They both agreed that the technology is available, the opportunity for more information is there, and it can only help farmers make more informed decisions faster, which hopefully means a better chance for their success. Now let's send it over to grain marketing consultant Matt Bennett, who's going to talk us through some strategies to consider when it comes to grain marketing.
This is Matt Bennett, Channel's grain marketing consultant, continuing a series of different marketing topics that we're trying to cover this year, trying to help producers out because obviously there's a lot of challenges, especially in a year like 2019. And so I get questions about how should we put strategies together. And so that's what we're going to focus on here for a couple of sessions. First of all, a lot of producers in the past had simply, sold across the scale, and some still do. And, if that's what works for them, that's perfectly fine. But as we've seen the last several years, there's some different strategies producers can employ which can actually help them navigate the risk of this market going up and down so violently at times. And so for the last 3 years, 15, 16, or actually 16, 17, and 18, we saw a high in the summer time frame above $4. Which wasn't exactly a home run by any stretch of the imagination. But then we backed off into harvest all 3 years. And a lot of folks think, well, we're going to see that high and back right on up into harvest again. That very well may be the case. But as a producer, our job isn't necessarily to try to outguess the market. Our job is to put together some sort of a strategy that's actually going to benefit our operation. So the first part, in my opinion, to put a strategy together is you absolutely have to know what your cost of production is, what it's going to cost you to break even on your farm. I don't want to just break even, but I certainly want to beat that break even as much as what I possibly can. So the first thing is I figure out what level I need to start selling at. What's going to be best for my operation. If true break even's $3, then maybe I need to be selling at $3.25 or $3.30 basis D's corn. And so the first thing is you got to know where that point is that you can can start to get some return on your investment. Second of all, we've got to put a marketing plan together that essentially puts that together, and so it works hand in hand with that cost of reduction, break even. I understand as a producer where I'm going to be able to make money and then identify where I'm going to actually start making those sales. The next thing that I might do, by all means, is to decide what kind of percentages I'm going to be working with. And so, that changes as the calendar year goes. And so when I'm putting a strategy, when I'm putting a marketing plan together, I've got to understand that the earlier in the marketing year, I'm probably going to be a little bit less aggressive. But of course, that's going to be a function of what kind of prices am I looking at. There's just a whole host of things to consider. But earlier on in the year, I'll be a little bit less aggressive unless the market offers me some type of ridiculous price. Later on in the year, as I get a little bit better handle on production, I might be just a little bit more aggressive. Perfect example of this is here in 2019. If producers didn't have a good fall last year and did get any anhydrous on, maybe they didn't apply any chemical, they're probably a little bit less likely to go ahead and sell some corn than what might be the producer that's got corn that's ankle top high right now because they're able to plant earlier, have their anhydrous on, and chemical as well. And so every situation is different, but when you're putting a marketing plan together, you got to know your own situation, and then you've got to be proactive about how you attack the markets. We'll come to you with another episode on how to put together a marketing plan and some of the specifics that we can all learn from whenever we're trying to manage risk on our operations. So once again, this has been Matt Bennett, the grain marketing consultant with Channel Seed, and thank you.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe to this podcast to hear more from Season 2 of Channel Chat. Learn more at channelpodcasting.com.